Drink more water. We're all told this, but how many of us actually keep track of our water intake? Headaches, sleepiness, muscle cramps, and low energy, all consequences of being dehydrated. I decided to finally act on my water drinking habit and at the same time do an experiment to answer this question. Does drinking 3 liters of water every day change my productivity and performance? And if it does, at what cost? Let's find out. The steps for the experiment are rather simple. Every morning, I'll fill up my 3 water bottles, which add up to being right about 3.2 liters, and then ask Siri, what day is it? By the end of the day before I sleep, I simply need to record that I drank all the bottles and once again ask Siri what day it is. Do I really need to do any of this? Not really, but when you're building a habit, you want to have a ritual that feels rewarding, and for me, there's no better ritual than telling the camera I succeeded, knowing that later I'm going to make a video about it. So how did the experiment go? It was a pretty rough start. The first 10 days is what I call the challenge phase. The main task, adapting to drinking 3 liters of water compared to my 1 to 1.5 liters that I'm estimating I drank before. So basically double to triple amount the water intake. I can do that, right? First day, I failed. I drank only 2 liters of water. For some reason, I thought this was going to be easy. I mean, all I'm doing is drinking a lot of water. I even mapped out the times. Drink half a liter every 3 hours from 7 to 10. Well, 30 days later, and I never actually drank water according to that schedule. Experiments don't always go according to plan. Lesson learned. Anyways, I didn't count that day, so new day 1, success. Notable side effects, a huge increase in peeing. I didn't keep track of the count the first 20 days, but for the final days, I ended up being at an average of about 12 to 13 compared to my average of 6 before I started the experiment. Yes, I actually kept track of this for the sake of the experiment. Now here's a more useful effect. Whenever I have a lot of late nights editing, I tend to feel a bit foggy the next morning. But now that I started this water challenge, I chug half a liter of water in the morning, and it's like drinking clarity. I can actually feel an immediate difference in energy, and it's a bit freaky. I'm 99% sure that's just my mind reacting to the stimulus of drinking a lot of water, because my body can't really access that energy right when it goes into my belly, right? Right? I don't know. The exact science of it is a mystery to me. My job is to report how I felt, and I genuinely felt like I had more energy each time I drank a large amount of water at once. This was consistent throughout the 30 days. Unless we're talking day 7, where I was behind schedule, so I decided to chug nearly a liter of water at once, and that caused my stomach to start hurting. So too much at once can be a bad thing. Lesson learned. But if you pace yourself well, you should get an energy boost instead of a stomachache. This was also apparent in my napping pattern. Before the experiment, I took 1 daily 20-minute nap in the afternoon. During the experiment, daily turned into 6 out of the 30 days. Energy levels, a definite increase. However, performance and productivity, variable. In order to judge performance and productivity, let's look at what I was doing during these 30 days. During the first week, I spent about 40 hours creating my Game of Thrones memory challenge video, which was extremely mentally taxing. Although I feel like the water helped, I believe the effects were marginal in this case. How can I tell? Because I failed the water challenge 2 times on day 4 and day 7, but those were still really productive days. On the days I failed, I drank around 1.5 to 2 liters, something to note. Also, to establish that I did indeed do 30 days of drinking 3 liters, I added 2 extra days, 32 days. Not that it really mattered, because by the time I passed week 2, drinking 3 liters of water became a thoughtless habit. To be honest, my original intention was not to necessarily make this a habit. It was more so for the experiment's sake. But I am glad that it got easier and easier. Only issue is that the experiment got harder and harder to navigate. Drinking 3 liters of water was my normal state now. Initially, I felt the differences more clearly. By the time it was day 15, it was like the differences began to fade away, and the experiment with it. But even if something doesn't go as planned, even if at this point I felt like drinking 3 liters of water made no difference, but only made me pee more, I still chose to see this experiment through. That's when I was finally rewarded with some valuable information. During this 30-day challenge, the average time I finished 3 liters was around 11 p.m. During my Pomodoro day, where I used the Pomodoro technique for right about 16 hours straight, I finished the water challenge by the time it hit around 7 p.m. That's a 4-hour difference, which is pretty huge. I've already finished these 2 water bottles. Normally I would still have some left here, so I'm guessing this is a reaction from me exerting quite a lot of mental energy as well as a physical. And right after I finished it, I felt like I could have drank more water. My Pomodoro day was an example of when I was at my absolute peak performance physically and mentally for practically the entire day. That's when I discovered the true potential of drinking more water. I honestly don't think it would have been possible to keep myself at peak performance the entire day without consistently drinking a lot of water. The lesson: water intake can make or break your stamina to perform at a peak performance for a long period of time. But I want to clarify something. Drinking more water isn't a magical pill that will solve all your problems. If you don't have your shit together, the water would just give you more energy to keep on doing unproductive tasks. However, if you have intention and focus, drinking more water will help boost clarity and energy, increase focus stamina, make you nap less, and cause you to pee a lot. However, even if drinking more water isn't a magic pill for solving your problems, maybe it can be the catalyst to grant you the extra clarity and energy you need to get your shit together. By the way, if you're interested in building good habits, check out my Habit Mastery course. The course will take you from not knowing anything about habits to discovering which habits are the most important to work on first, and how to set up your environment properly to keep your habit going. It's pretty much the process of what I do that helped me record myself doing splits for 120 days straight and recording myself for drinking water for 32 days straight. I'll leave a link to it below. Anyways, I really appreciate you guys who watched to the end. Comment below if you've had an experience where water made a significant difference in how you felt. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, consider giving it a like and subscribing. I'll see you guys in the next one.